मीरारविन्दाय विद्महे अतिमानसाय धीमहि तन्नो ज्योतिः प्रचोदयात्। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Namaste. Again, I request all participants, please turn on the video feeds. If you do not turn on the video feeds, I will not ask you again. Today is the last session. Anyway, so can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? We had actually concluded the study on the aphorisms of Sri Aurobindo. So, which are called Sri Aurobindo's Upanishad. We saw what we call the last moment or the final part of it, but we didn't have a summary discussion. So, can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, please. Anybody?
The aspects of Jiva was introduced
Ji.
on liberation, that you should not get trapped, how not to get trapped through others commenting and others' view.
Okay, but that was not in the Upanishad. That was like an inference that we drew, isn't it?
Huh.
Hmm. Okay.
And the Adhikar and all we spoke about, Adhikar, Adesh, Manu gives Adesh and all we spoke about last
We
time.
spoke. Sorry, your voice broke. There was some network lag at my end. Please, can you repeat your last statement?
We spoke about Adhikar, Manu gives Adhikar and Manu gives
Ah,
Adesh.
yeah, so Sri Aurobindo had the adhikara to give us the adeshin. We saw why his words can be considered as a pramana, or they are worthy of being considered divine words of instruction for sadhaks or seekers. This, that is what we saw. Yes.
Ego is a main cause, root cause for
Ah,
all.
right. That was one interesting conclusion. Ajnana eva. It is ignorance. Ignorance is the root cause of all the sufferings. It
Cause
is ignorance that makes us.
for all the sorrow and all the fall downs and all the falls
Okay.
and that we face
Yeah.
suffering.
Yes, yes. Right. So that is one important thing we saw, isn't it? Ajnana is the root cause of what? Feeling that God is enjoying in my suffering, or I will get happy only when I fight and, take some kind of vengeance against God, or take some kind of action which is going to trouble the divine will. That alone will give me happiness. Such a kind of thinking is all a distortion because of the ahankara. Yeah, that was also as what Sita Lakshmi ji talked about. Yes, anybody would like to add some more?
Difference between Ananda and Nirananda you told.
Ji, yes, ji. Ananda and Nirananda. Yes, Ananda is something. Would you like to share about that? The difference, Ji? Yes,
Mm,
Sugna ji?
um, makes you realize your freedom
Ha. Yes.
in Ananda.
In Ananda, you'll experience that freedom and you enjoy and you realize you are free. That is
Yeah.
Ananda. Okay.
And in opposite Nirananda, you are not free. You are
Yes. Yes, yes. It is something like how we can say, even when you are free, if you are in a state
you
of,
you gave a good example कि when you are doing something, but in your mind something is keeping you bothering.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes. So if our mind is attached to, because mind gets easily attached, it gets attached to desires, it attached to through the thoughts, no? It gets attached
Yeah.
to in almost anything. Sometimes
Yes.
desires are not there, but past experiences become a weight. It's like these are what they are called. That is why mind is Chanchal, it is said in the Gita, and it is something like easily sanskara can be created on the mind.
Yeah.
There is
And
a yes,
you
ji.
tell about that asang, that
Asanga
asang.
Shastrena Dhrudena Chitva, which was the 15th Adhyay, Krishna's verse, meaning this is a entanglement that traps a person forever, meaning a person can become trapped for eternity. It does not mean it's a person of particular age. It can be somebody very young, it can be somebody very old, because of the mind's tendency to get attached, because of this attachment the mind gets trapped and gets into these circles. The only way is to experience Ananda is by cutting it. One of the simplest thing is like how that is why it is said we have to do sadhana, we have to start, all of us must learn to sometimes unlearn also, isn't it? Problem is when we have learned certain things become, oh yes, I have understood. Now nobody can teach me. I got the experience. You don't know I have felt bad, I have experienced suffering. You can't teach me now. This we even tell to God. God tries to come and teach us in different forms of people or moments and everything. No, no, I got the experience. That ahankara only is the reason. And the only way is we have to cut that because as long as we are with ahankar, we will be trapped. We will not experience ananda. Instead, we will be trapped in what is called maya. And life goes on like in a flash. You don't realize. Childhood will suddenly get over, youth also gets over. It's like that. Minutes will go, days will go, months will go, years will go, and we'll not realize it. It happens so fast because we're attached. And that is the tendency of the mind. The mind has that tendency. We have to learn to connect it with the divine. So that is what Krishna Sri Aurobindo talked about here. That he identified. He said, this is the pinpoint simple reason. Meaning, you can be in a beautiful place. Maybe somebody may be in an ashram only and yet that person may be completely disconnected from the divine. Like they say, close to the temple, yet away from God. Why? Because that is the simple aspect where the mind has got detached elsewhere. So here, Sri Aurobindo in the fourth moment very beautifully gives an Adesh. We saw why he has the right to give the Adesh is because he is the Adhikari who has got the experience. And what does he say? He tells us before giving the Adesh, he talks about there is something beautiful, there is something what we call the Jiva. The Jiva has come for becoming free. The freedom, which is from all the sufferings, you can become free. The mind can also become free from all sufferings. There are people who sometimes go through the biggest problems in life, and yet you can see they are smiling. How is it that they are free? We wonder what is this, then we say no, it is God's power only, it's not possible for me. That person has got some extra, or maybe that person is an alien, not a living human being like you and me. That is what we draw as inference, but we don't realize that this ability is there for every single one of us. And when we realize that freedom, then all life, ordinary life also becomes a life divine. My question is, how can we make our life divine? Simple. Everyday life, can it become divine? If yes, let us,
Yes,
yes, Sitaji, yes, ji. Yes,
yes, by doing things faithfully, wholeheartedly.
faithfully, wholeheartedly. Can you make your breakfast a divine breakfast in the morning? Sita Lakshmi ji, what do you think? Life divine means not only when you are doing dhyana or raising your consciousness to that higher level, it's something it has to be sustained, isn't it, throughout the life? So, how can we experience divinity in the smallest of moments? For
Means
example,
it's
breakfast.
we should not
Yeah.
make it as if it's a burden for me, as if it's a duty for me. Do it
Okay. Yeah.
as pleasure, as
It,
with love.
With love, isn't it? Love makes everything divine, isn't it?
and we
So
should
add
do
that
it with
love.
perfection.
Yeah, Usha ji has said,
And we
my
should
dear
do it
Sro.
with perfection. Even if it's just a breakfast, it can be
Okay,
done perfectly.
it can be done perfectly. So then we will see what will happen after that. I think we do somebody who is very well versed with physiology will explain to us how better endorphins reach the brain, when food is better, how little things become. This is how life can become divine. It starts with very simple things. Many times people ignore this. Anybody has heard of this great author called Prema Nandakumar? Yes. a very senior one. Has anybody heard of her?
No.
No, all right. I was very lucky to meet her. She's one of the authors in this journal called Sri Aurobindo's Action. She would write quite often there. And she was one of the first persons to get a PhD. And this was, she got, I mean, PhD on Sri Aurobindo's works. And she's now probably in her late 80s or maybe 90s as well. But she was giving a beautiful talk because she had done PhD on Savitri, and at that time it was so difficult. You know, it was very difficult to get a PhD itself because you had to go to UK and talk in front of the experts there. So at a young age, she got that what we say a PhD, and after some time passed, she got married, and life went on. And one day she has told, this is her, it's basically anecdotal experience I'm sharing. There might be some words different, but this is exactly from her only what I heard. So she said that she was in her husband's home, which was now her home after her marriage. She was washing the vessels after food. And that time her father, who was also a great yogi, came inside. He came to meet her. But that time she was feeling suddenly little frustrated. See, what am I doing? I've done this, I've done that. And she just looked at him because he himself was a great yogi. Already he had created great sanskaras for right from childhood. She just looked at him and said, for this, I got my PhD. That was her question. And her father replied in a simple way, simple one line. He said, if you can't see Savitri in washing of the dishes, you have not understood Savitri at all. She says, and see how with such humility she is giving her own experience of life, which was many, many years ago. She's just telling that because this is the aspect of Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta is not for Vedantic discussions with people. Otherwise, first thing will start. See, Sri Aurobindo has said like this. Another person, we went to a very big conference on the Veda, and there was a big fight going on between scholars. I was really scratching my head, wondering what have I done, booking the ticket and coming so far for his 15-minute talk, which I'm going to give, and hearing such fights going on because without understanding the message, without understanding in practical the principle, people are just trying to negate other aspects. This person is wrong, this person is like this is karma kanda, that is that. No, instead become conscious of what Sri Aurobindo is told, and it's so easy if we can bring it into our practical life because the master can talk about what are mistakes in somebody else. But can we talk? Do we have that adhikara? No, we don't. So we focus on ours. We become the adhikari through anubhav, through anubhuti. Anubhuti is something which will give us that right. Anubhuti will come and then we can speak. That time when Swami Vivekananda was asked after he came back, but XYZ said like this about this. He replied, but I, Swami Vivekananda, say so. That was the adhikara. So we should instead of trying to use this for, as Sri Aurobindo has also told, the Gita is not for dialectical warfare. We're not going to try to show somebody else I'm smarter, I'm better than this, or this interpretation is. Sometimes people get a different type of happiness in trying to say, "See, Sri Aurobindo has told that person is wrong. So that means I am now smarter than that person." It's not like that. Instead, if we become the adhikari, that would be beautiful because that is where, if you see, the instruction of Sri Aurobindo is also here. What is the message? What is the message of Sri Aurobindo's yoga? We can very well understand here. This is the message that even the Vedic rishis wanted us to understand and live. And that same thing he has very beautifully simplified. If you look at the last part, after he introduces, he says, see, this jiva is there, this jiva is brilliant and experiencing all this ananda and participating in what is called the Leela. The Leela of whom? Of the Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means the Lord of Yoga or the one who brings about the union. Krishna is also called Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means union of what? Well, matter and spirit also, isn't it? Sri Aurobindo has talked about in Savitri. And matter shall reveal the spirit's face. So why are we going to create divides? Instead of that, become conscious. What is material? What is spiritual? What is different in all of this? When all are one. That is also what the uh, oneness is something which is very important. Ekameva dvitiyam Brahma, isn't it? That is how this Upanishad started. Ekameva dvitiya. So to understand that, first we have to recognize the presence of this divine game that is being played. And we have to become conscious, willful, and blissful participants. It is very simple. If somebody wants to know, am I going ahead on the spiritual path? Ask yourself, am I getting happy? Am I having more fulfilled experiences of life? Are my troubles becoming lesser? Whether or not you are having some particular awakening or you're having some kind of drishtanta, all these things don't matter so much. One senior sadhika was there in the ashram. Her name was Kusumben. She dedicated her life completely for sadhana only. She had seen the mother, and I really enjoyed going to deliver products to her because she would touch the back, and all of it felt like very nice. Just to see her, that was my happiest moment. And she had come to my teacher once, Damleji, asking I wanted to learn pranayam. She was quite senior to my Guruji also. So he also was a little surprised. Why is this? She's coming to learn from me. But fine. So Damini started explaining Anulom Vilom, this particular pranayam. This has to be done like this. So she was already aware of certain things. So she asked her doubts. And then when Damliji told somebody who does it properly in the right manner, that person's both Ida and Pingala, both these nadis become awakened. Both become free. Because anytime you just breathe out, you'll have only one nostril which is overly functional. And you will not be, that's a siddhi, is what he was told. That time she hit her head like this. So I was a little surprised, Namli. She also, Acha, मुझे लगा मेरा कुछ problem है, is what she said. Because both her nostrils had automatically got activated through sadhana without her realizing it. And that is how, means Sri Aurobindo's yoga does not focus on your particular chakra must be awakened or RPM must increase in Muladhara chakra only or some particular vision should come here. No, these are all secondary if you are not bringing it into the practical. Means great Dr. Nirodharan, first thing after finishing his MB, he finished his degree and when he came back to Pondicherry, when he came to Pondicherry to serve, he was sent to the carpentry section. Why will a doctor go to carpentry? What is the logic? What is behind it? No, all works. You have to learn to do it consciously. Perfection in work is spirituality. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. So it is like that. Participate in that divine game, and the person who experiences the game of the divine, who experiences the things that are happening, then that person becomes the experiencer of Ananda. Yes, Sitaji wants to say something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Shushuji. I would like to share something very much personal that happened that I
Okay.
went through last
Okay.
year.
All
So I
right.
don't know what you will call this experience. Um,
Mm.
my one family was staying upstairs in my I stay in first floor. On second floor was a small baby girl they had, and it
Okay.
was just 6 months old. And that girl, that child's mother said that they are going to the Jitmar hospital very often. So I asked, what's happening? She is normal. Why do you go to hospital? No, it's summa checkup, she said. Then after almost some 1 or 2 months, I forcefully asked her, what's something wrong with her or what? Then after a while, that child's mother said that, Illa akka, my baby is having two holes in her heart,
Mm.
one big hole and one small hole.
Mm.
But the child was very much attached to me, like my own child. She would be full day with me
Yeah.
only. And after school, she'll be with me only, playing with me after school. I'll also entertain her very well. Then the mother started crying a lot. And after I felt very sad. I was so much attached to her. Really, what's happening to this girl? She's very fine, fit and fine. How can God do this? And compulsory doctor in Jipma, they have said that when the child becomes 2 years old, she has to be operated. That is compulsory.
Okay.
Default operation has to be done. Till then,
Okay.
every 6 months they have to get a scan,
Right.
get it
Ji,
scanned.
ji.
So okay, then I said, okay. After 2 or 3 days, I do meditation every day. After two or
Mm.
three days, I don't know why. Those few days, I started meditation more longer, and thinking of
Okay.
putting the child only in my mind. Then after that, I said that okay. Then I started changing of food. Just simply told that mother that just change your
Mm.
mindset. The child is fine. She is good. She is healthy. Operation will not be needed. Just pray to God. Tell God that everything will be fine. Yeah, you look after my child. Uh, definitely the operation would not be needed. Smilingly, wholeheartedly, don't break down, don't cry. And I will also meditate for her. My full meditation will focus only on the child only. Then she started making fun of me. Nahi, it's all book ka batein hai. This means all book
Okay.
writings
Yeah.
of the book and all. Not something. Spirituality is different. Reality is different. She is simply fighting with me, fought with me. Then when the child was 1 year old, they took a scan. It was the same hole. The hole was same.
Okay.
I took her to the another some I just to another doctor and gave her some and the doctor gave her some to increase hemoglobin. No,
No, can we
the
go a little faster, Ji? Yes, Ji.
health
Yes,
tonic.
please.
Then after then I told her not to take a scan in the 1.5 months, 1.5 years. Then after two
Right.
years, on the second year when they went for the scan, last scan, and for to be operated, they saw that there was no hole in the heart.
Ji, Ji. So,
And they
yeah, yeah.
were surprised and astonished. God knows what happened, where the hole went away. And they all were, the doctors were astonished. They're looking at older
Yeah.
reports and all. And they
Right.
were, no,
Yes, Ji.
happened to that.
Yes. Yes, Ji.
And the
So there's something. Yeah.
mother's mindset also had
Right.
changed one or two,
Right.
1.5 years.
Yes, Ji. Yes, Ji. So thank you. Yes, Ji. Yes, Sita Ji. So that is, as Shervindu has said, all is possible when the God touch is there. Meaning we need to become conscious. And when we do become conscious, these are all little experiences. We see what was this, a divine game? Like how Sitaji talked about. A panelist said he's grateful to God that he got a heart attack in the hospital. So, 40 years ago, it seems, the co-panelist in a talk, he was telling he had gone for a regular checkup and he got a heart attack in the hospital only. Now, what we are trying to understand here is, let us now break from this, what is this wheel of Maya, and start becoming participants of this game of Ananda of the divine. That is the last part of this Upanishad, meaning slowly, if you see how Brahman is introduced, this principle of Brahman is first introduced, then, the principle of how one and many and differentiation of consciousness, what is one, which is integral, all those factors were told, and then suddenly in the last part, a message that this is the Leela of the divine, and this Leela of the divine is for a purpose, for a plan. And what is the message? If we will look at it, just the last part, where Sri Aurobindo says, Leelartham ki Jagadanandartham, Leela Maya iti Leelam Purutanandasya Putraha, Muktaha Kridatanandam Bhuktaikam, Bhogyam Bhagavantam Prapya Bhuktam Sarva Vastushu. Meaning, what is this bhoga? Taking the bhoga is actually, we many times understand somebody is getting trapped in enjoyment, isn't it? So getting means no, 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 we should not get trapped in enjoyment is what is said. But what is this bhoga we are going to take? This bhoga of which Shervindo is asking, enjoy in the play. Now, isn't this a different type of desire? Many people say on the spiritual path, you should have a very straight face. Don't smile. Remember to be perennially little irritated in your face. You're not going to have expressions. No detachment. A lot of people show that, isn't it? I am in a higher consciousness. You see, there's a tilt in their while walking around. Also, there. Yes, somebody wants to add something. Yes, please. What is this bhoga? Yes, anybody? Were you adding something? No. All right. So if you see, even in the Vedanta, we're going to be looking at another workshop will start, which is the Isha Upanishad. That also asks us to take the enjoyment after recognizing everything is the play of the divine, or everything is the under the ownership of the divine. Isha Vasamidam Sarvam Yat Kencha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita Magrada Kasya Svidhanam. Meaning, enjoy after surrendering. This is something very beautiful, this principle. Surrender to the divine and then enjoy. Enjoy the little moments which become gifts of the divine. For instance, okay, summer season is here. AC is not working. All right, instead of grumbling over AC not working, just keep the window open and suddenly experience the cool breeze coming from nowhere. And wow, what is that feeling when you become conscious? Well, that is what gratitude for little things. All these things will come naturally when you surrender and when you realize that you are a child of bliss. You're not meant. You're because many times our problems start because we berate ourselves. We think we are children of sin. We are bad. We are not so good. We are full of all flaws. It's all right. If flaws are not there, how are they going to get corrected? We are there with flaws because flaws have to be corrected and they will be corrected with the divine's will. Only we have to become open. And that is the message here. If you see here, O children of bliss, Anandam hi pravakshami bhagavadadishta tamasam apavritya anandah prakashatam tasya putraha is the final part. O children of bliss, harbingers of his celestial light, removing darkness with his bliss divine, set the world alight. What is this darkness which we have to remove?
Ignorance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this journey itself is tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, isn't it? From darkness, lead me to light. This light is the light of Ananda. It must come into our lives. If we are followers of Sri Aurobindo, we are followers of his way, we are followers of the divine, the first thing we must learn is to experience the bliss of being connected with the divine. When? In the little moments. It's so simple when you surrender to the divine. I understand that this is your work. Now, if I want to make a place better, if I want to make the world better, is there any limit for me? Is there a limitation?
None.
Better means this much only better. No, it's not like that. Betterment is something which is going to have no limit. And if you really get this inspiration, you get inspired to make the world a better place, no matter what, whichever little way. Like in Ramayana, the squirrel wanted to help in the Setu, isn't it? Construction. That is also a great contribution. In the metaphysical terms, there is no what we see like how in Newtonian physics laws are having different value. When you go beyond that to the quantum realm, suddenly things are different. You don't have to, it's not one plus one and all this Boolean logic fails. So something like that, something of that sort. When you become conscious, you will understand, you will become a participant. And there you will, what happens to the participant? The participant gets support from the team, isn't it? So there's this game, you will be connected with the higher consciousness and you will experience. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, she just saw one barren place and that is where she thought Auroville will start. And what happened then? Well, she was connected from that high consciousness. She could understand this is the place where a beautiful new world is going to become a symbol of what future humanity is going to. Where did it come? It came in the most barren place. And where did the support pour from? From across the world. People who didn't even know what they were doing were supporting. I will not say everybody knows even today, all who are living there, but you see, this is the power of what is the Leela. So many things. It becomes like an experiment which is going on in the divine's book. What the divine has, that plan goes on. You just have to align with that consciousness and then experience this bliss. That is what Sri Aurobindo is talking about. Anandam hi pravakshami bhagavat adishta tamasam apavritya prakashastu anandasya putraha. Meaning, this is our message. If Sri Aurobindo wants to give us a message through this aphorism, it is here in the last part, which is very clear. Spread Ananda, remove ignorance. Ignorance is not bliss, ignorance is pseudo bliss. The moment you realize the consequences, the bliss disappears in ignorance. So experience what is the real Ananda, not something which is false. And to do that, you'll have to start removing whatever ignorance is there. Where? First from within, then from without. It is very important to do that. And that is where we see the last part of this Upanishad. If you see, even in the Bhagavad Gita, right in the second Adhyaya, if we were to look at what is the 65th shloka, we will see what happens when you follow this path? You become free. Free in the sense absolute freedom. For freedom in the moksha only. Means this is Sri Aurobindo says Esha moksha. This becoming free, meaning you might be trapped in your life schedule of so many responsibilities and all of it, but the moment you realize you are free, that's it. India was under suppression for so many years, isn't it? So many, like one after the other, different empires tried to come and take over. But yet, in all those times, there were people who were free, isn't it? And those free ones dreamt about freedom. Swaraj is my birthright. I shall have it. Lokmanya Tilak had said that. Where did he understand it? Because it was that freedom that he experienced from inside, and that allowed him to manifest each and every time this thing is there. So there is a direct consequence of becoming free is experiencing the ananda, and that is the prasada. Many times people, I think children go to temple because maybe they may like the aradhya or they may not like the aradhya, but they like the prasada. So for the prasada, they definitely go. So this is the prasada. If you look at the 65th shloka of the second adhyaya of the Gita, Krishna says this. Somebody who is able to overcome all the ignorance, somebody who is able to control the self inside, all these desires, raga, dvesha, mada, moha, matsar, kama, krodha, all of this, somebody is able to overcome. Such a person experiences the bliss of a higher consciousness, that prasada. What is it? What does that prasada bring? Let us see. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate प्रसन्न चेतसो याशु बुद्धि पर्यवतिष्ठते. Unhappiness in all its forms ends, and all sorrows away this blessing sends, filling the seeker's mind with ethereal joys. He attains the perfect wisdom's poise. Such a person, he experiences that poise, that samatha, after receiving that glimpse of a higher consciousness. Suddenly, so that is why try and experience that. Close your eyes, meditate without any particular specific desire. Just experience. And sometimes that trickle, what trickle comes also, that becomes your source. That trickle will soon become a cascade if you continue. You have to just go on. But that is the happiness, that happiness which will not end. And how does one do that? Again, it is something just becoming free. Free from what? Free from desire, free from all types of attachments. Somebody says, then what will happen to man? Well, man will become something beyond man, isn't it? Man will become what we call Superman. Man will become divine, or what we can say God. But how can man become God is the biggest question, isn't it? Is it possible? What about Shastra? Is this breaking everything what the Shastras have told? Evolution is not possible. So many people say, no, man is this much only. What Shirendra said is not in conformance with conforming to the Shastras of the ancient times. A lot of people, we can say, who want to create divide only speak like that. But if you look into the Gita also, Krishna is also talking about same thing, that we have to rise, we have to rise. What is it exactly? Sri Aurobindo has beautifully shared. But look at the Gita. There also Krishna talks about it. What is the highest form of man? What do we say? Something which is very beautiful. We call it divine only, isn't it? Something which is best beyond our understanding. We attribute, means what is maximum man can give? A adjective. It is divine. It is godly. Well, the time is ripe for human beings also to transcend. Are we happy being human? Everybody. We say at least be human. A lot of people say, forget divinity and all. First be human. A lot of people say. So, but is being human enough is the big question. Because should we go ahead? Because Sri Aurobindo has told, no, you have to go to the next stage. But first we must recognize, no, that is it necessary to go to that next stage? Is being human enough? Is my question. Yes, please. Anybody?
I guess the next step
Yeah.
before we go further is to become humane. Being
Okay.
human just not enough.
Being human is not enough, isn't it?
No.
Because human beings only are doing a lot of nonsense in this
Mm.
world. Sometimes we say people behave like animals, even animals, if they understand, they will get sick. You say, hey, you can't, don't destroy the animal, don't berate the animal kingdom. This is, even animals have a particular way of functioning. So this distortion is there in our human nature. This distortion only is the limitation which has to be completely eliminated. That is why the rising of consciousness is necessary. And that is why Sri Aurobindo says, yes, become the harbinger of that future race of human being. Create that ground. Create a ground, because you see, avatars also have to descend, isn't it? If the avatar has to descend, the ground must be ready or not. What will
Yes.
happen if the avatar descends when the ground is not ready? It will destroy. Ma Kali's force. Some people say I'm doing Ma Kali's Upasana. Now my Ma Kali is going to enter inside of me. Imagine putting so much air into a balloon which can hold only little bit air. It's going to burst, isn't it? Maybe we
Yes.
can get a ansha, little energy. So we have to. That Sri Aurobindo talks about making the adhara or the base or the instrument strong, physically, mentally, emotionally, integrally. This is very important. And if you look at this aspect of rising beyond human consciousness, this is not alien. Sri Aurobindo also himself said, "I'm not trying to completely make something out of the blue." This is very much the aim which was given forward by the great Rishis. He's only taken that ahead in practicality. Look at the 15th adhyaya of the Gita. The fifth shloka also indicates something similar. Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sanyai gacchantya mudhaha padam avyayam tat. Bereft of pride and delusion, with a desireless detachment, embedded in the self, by conquering the fault of attachment, having surpassed the dualities of joy and sorrow for good, the enlightened ones progresses towards the status of godhood. See, the human being can rise in consciousness. Sant Tukaram also had said, I had gone to see God, I didn't know when I became one. Again, what is that? Well, this is the natural progression. This is not something which is completely impossible. This is something which is necessary. And that is what Sri Aurobindo is asking us. Means if we want to sum up, what is Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta? What is this Vedanta for all of us to understand? It is this only. We have to now transcend. We have to become the harbingers. We have to become the representatives. Will we get help? Yes, help is always there for everybody who seeks. So many have, even now, people have experienced the direct action of Sri Aurobindo. Direct action. Some people have seen visions, that is different, but some people have directly felt the presence, the hand of the divine guiding. They say his presence is very much felt in a subtle. Those who are able to witness what are the occult dreams also, they say yes, he is actively present in the subtle physical. We can watch his movement. So I think this last point, if at all we want to, like you see, the Upanishad always first part is very important. Same way, the last aspect also is equally important if you look at it. And here we have that message. So this is that message of Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta. It is very impossible to talk about Sri Aurobindo. It is also equally impossible to talk about what is Sri Aurobindo's teaching. So I just tried using the help of Sri Aurobindo's words only, trying to look at what is the message that our master has given. Sri Aurobindo's message is this only, that we have to experience that bliss in our life. We have to become what is the instrument of what? Of the divine. And then that would bring about the transformation. So with this, our what we can say discussion on Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta can be considered complete. But before we end, I would say the end the workshop. Journey is not going to end, of course. Everybody's journey is just a formality which workshops get complete, but everybody's journey is going to go on only. But if we want to, as we are all traveling on the same path, maybe even different roads also, they are reaching the same destination. But what is the message that we can take which will be useful for us as well as for everybody else in practical, because that was the entire aim in this work of this workshop also. Practically, what is it that we can take in everyday life? Anybody? Can you just
Just
share
that
something? Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ji.
everything we do should be every little thing we do.
Hmm.
If we can make it an offering to the divine,
Yeah.
that it's slow but sure progress. It's the whole day then becomes, and then eventually the whole life becomes a dedication to the divine. It doesn't matter what work it is, even washing up, like you said,
Ji.
washing up or doing whatever, cooking, whatever. It's the
Hmm.
right attitude of the mind. That's what
Okay.
I
All right.
think.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you. Asha ji wants to add something. Yes, Asha ji. Please unmute. Please unmute, ji. I can't hear you. Bottom left corner, there's that speaker button. If you are able to find it.
We should be always in blissful mood.
Ah, okay. Yes, yes. This is something very interesting, isn't it? Can we be blissful at all times? Is it possible?
By
Humanly
by
possible? Yeah.
by Vayaga and Abhasa.
By Abhyasa and
Vairagya. Vairagya.
Vaira, Vairagya. Okay, that's beautiful. Krishna had also given the same message to Arjuna when he said, how? He said, Abhyasena and Vairagyena. How can I become quiet? Sthita Pragnya, what is this nature of Sthita Pragnya? Absolutely. Yes, Chichal Maji. Asha ji is adding something? Yes,
Yes.
please.
To achieve happiness or anand in life, we have to forgo false ego.
False ego.
Mm,
Ah,
yeah.
means the
Not just
source
ego
of
is
our.
there. Ego is necessary, but false ego is something which can damage
Okay.
everything. So that
Okay, that's very nice. Means ego is, that's an interesting point. Ego is necessary. Now, this is something which needs to be looked at also because the mother has also said ego is a helper, ego is a bad. Means how can, when is it a helper? When it is at least making you realize what is, oh, who are you? I am now the follower of Sri Aurobindo. I am a citizen of India. I will not tolerate. That is where it is going to help me. But when it becomes, when does it become a source of trouble? When I alone am, or my, I am greater, that I becomes too big, no? That becomes the biggest problem. So, and it becomes a source of what we can say, all unhappiness. And this aspect of, I think, has adding to what Chitralji has also told, Ashaji has added this about this happiness. A small example I can just tell, there was one person who was always Mr. Brightside, all this time happy, all this time smiling, always positive. So much that so many people got irritated. Why is this person laughing all the time? And why is this person happy? Whatever happens, this person had a loss in business, still is happy. This is happening, some things are not good, still this person is happy. He's always, and he was not preaching, but his happiness, instead of being contagious, some people whose ankar got pricked wanted to find out how to break that happiness, or they did not relate to it. So then something happened which was not so fortunate in his life. He met with an accident and he lost one leg. It had to be amputated. So this friend, who is so-called friend, went to visit in the hospital. He looked at him and said, "You've lost your leg. It feels so bad." There was no sorrow in or empathy in his voice. But he said, "But now you cannot find anything happy or anything good in this, isn't it?" That man smiled and he actually laughed out loud, saying, "I have only one shoe to wear now. I have one shoe less to wear." What is that? It makes a difference, isn't it?
Uh,
When you are in a state of
Sushrut ji,
ananda. Yes, Steve.
I just lost that audio. Could you repeat that line, please, if you could?
The last line, what he said. He said, so the person who lost his leg, he was asked by a friend, now what? Now what are you going to, what is happy in this? What is good in this? What is positive? So this guy replies with a laugh. He says, I have one shoe less to wear. I don't have
Wow.
to worry about it. It is something like that. We sometimes visualize, no, the world is sorrowful. Everywhere I'm seeing sorrow. Look at, I'm also lonely. That person is also lonely. I remember when I was in college, I just finished college that time. I was feeling bad, so everything in the world looked bad to me that time. I was working and I had to go to Chennai for a particular program, tuition or something. for preparation for a course. So that time I saw one young boy. He was walking, and I saw he cannot see, and he just stumbled a bit. I felt very bad for him. See, this young boy cannot see. But instead, I found him laughing because he stumbled, as if it was a very regular event for him. And he just went on ahead, meaning I am perceiving a big sorrow. Like, then later on, I got a chance to work with a lot of people who don't have vision also. They're not depressed. They don't need this kind of unnecessary empathy. They just need understanding and oneness. That's all. And they don't care. They've learned how to enjoy. Sometimes that happiest face is what we are not realizing that it is there, and we are only unnecessarily adding to misery everywhere. Instead, if we can identify the Ananda, and that Ananda comes from divine association meaning connection with the divine, that is something which, so I think what Ashaji and Chitralji talked about, that's a very important point. We have to learn. There are many pravachanas in Maharashtra. Some saints begin with Mana Karare Prasanna, meaning make your mind happy. Ultimately, why we are doing everything to be blissful, isn't it? So if you are able to first only keep your mind free and happy, like or there is something like Sant Ramdas Swami, Samartha Ramdas Swami, the guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He had something called Manache Shlok. He very beautifully shlokas for the mind, and these are all nice, beautiful, small poetry like questions also, where he asks, "Jagi sarva sukhi asa कोण आहे विचारे मना तोच शोधून पाहे." Means, see, who is there in this world who is always blissful and happy all the time? Everybody has some or the other some problem, but instead, if you can learn to come out of that, who is there without any problem? Can anybody raise their hand and say, I have no problems in life? Isn't it? Everybody has physical, mental, emotional, previous, some people have arthic, financial problems. No matter what philosophy you give, it will not reduce the debit account balance. No. You talk about Brahma and everything. Still, debit account will remain. But I know somebody who has, instead of inheriting generational wealth, he has inherited generational debt, and yet this person has learned to find la smile. He says, I'm not going to get married because next 15 years of my life I'll have to spend earning back what my father has lost. Yet this person is able to smile and laugh. How is it possible? Well, that is very much in our hands. So this ananda we have to experience. We have, I think, is Usha Maji is present here? Yes,
Yeah,
Usha
I'm
ji
here.
is, yes. Best example, we have practical, best, we can say best teacher is here only. Physical pain for so many years, somebody is suffering and will not say suffering, somebody is experiencing, but not suffering. How do
It's
you
a
do
matter
that,
of
Ushaji?
choice.
Huh?
It's a
Yeah,
matter
that
of
is true.
choice.
It's a matter of choice, isn't it? Is it
And
so
there is
easy?
so many happy things are there which will overcome the pain.
Ji,
Like the
ji,
presence
absolutely.
of the child is enough to overcome anything.
Okay, so yes, Sushaji has become friends with Balkrishna. So his Balkrishna's presence in her life makes everything all the fun. Physical pain also means convert pain into ananda. How to do it? Well, this is a practical example. Yes. So this is one important. Yes, Sunita ji is adding something.
No, when it came to Ishaji, I just wanted to share because we've spent a lot of time, a lot of us together have
Okay.
spent a lot of time with her. Not once have we heard her really say, I'm not well, I'm in pain. She would always see to it that we are comfortable, how to make us happy. So that is something very unusual when a person is going through so much. She's looking into our our welfare and our happiness. So,
Yeah.
and we learned so much with her practical way of giving it to us. So we're
Ji,
so
ji,
grateful. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, that's something incredible. We are lucky to have her also.
Yes. Right,
And
right.
through her,
Thank you.
we got you.
No,
So,
Ji. So it is something, it is what is the beautiful game. Means I also got introduced to Vishali through another workshop. That is where I found out. First time she said, I cannot attend the workshop. I cannot sit. I said, okay, lie down. No, no, no. I will sit. So she could not, that workshop got over. Another workshop said, no, I'm going to try. Even now, 2, 3 days back, I'm unable to attend the workshop because of pain. I'll try next. How is this? Well, this is how you have to participate in the game. She says child is being mischievous. Meaning of that is extreme pain is going on. But now is really the child playing mischief is a big question. Or some people's mind is there. No, mind sometimes dismisses the brilliant things also. So somebody may say, no, 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 this is not the logical mind, rational mind does not understand a lot of things. So even Ushaji's book release, it happened, nobody knew. We were all busy with the release of a book and we did not realize it happened on the same day. Same day she had got a stroke so many years ago, almost 2 decades ago. How did it happen on the same day? It was a game. It was a game. This is the game of Leela that the divine is playing. And when you
And that
participate, yes, it,
and that is the way of his showing his presence
yeah,
is by the
yes,
same date.
yes, yes,
And that we
yes.
noticed it.
You noticed it quite late also, isn't it? After
Uh,
everything was booked.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. How does it happen? It's such an important moment, but still it was that time not, it is, this is Maya. Maya covers us. Leela liberates us. Maya traps us. And who is going to free from Maya? Not ourselves. We are not so powerful enough. But hold on to the divine and watch the game. Like how even one more beautiful Tukaram's Abhanga. Tuka mane uge rahave, je je hoil te te pahave. Meaning stand and watch. Like how Vitthal also stands with his 2 hands by his hips. Just watch the game, how divine changes, how the entire scenario changes. Business meetings, you sit in a particular way, egos clashing everywhere. Suddenly somebody enters into that room. Change of consciousness takes place. If you see, suddenly everything. If you even the even Sri Aurobindo in the political, I think everybody knows about the Surat split, isn't it? The Surat split in the history of Congress that took place before the independence. What happened there? Everybody thinks it was Lokmanya Balgangadhar Tilak who had called the split. There were chairs being thrown, moderates and extremists. Two divides were done. There it was Sri Aurobindo and Sri Aurobindo quietly gave the call. Not everybody knew it was Sri Aurobindo who gave the call, and that created a big defining moment. It happened so silently. How? Where? Well, we don't have to. The divine is the what we can say master of the game. He knows the rules. He knows how to bend the rules also. We don't have to worry about all of that. Only we have to become participants. For becoming participants, also, we have to rise beyond what is ordinary mental consciousness. Rise beyond logic, rise beyond ration. What again? Rising beyond logic does not mean becoming illogical. Sri Aurobindo I told surrender the mind, and later on in correspondence he has to give a letter, a clarification to some of the. He says everybody seems to have misinterpreted. They have surrendered common sense instead of surrendering the mind. Our mind is to be surrendered is fine. That is the limitation of our. We understand that things can happen beyond the mind, but we have to work. We have to become active participants. Yes, anybody else would like to draw any other point that which can be taken by us? Yes, please.
Uh, can I add 2 points?
Yes, ma'am.
One is that when things go wrong, I think we have to take the attitude this phase too will pass. Second is that things could have been worse. So then you feel okay. Like you gave the
Right.
example of one person losing his leg. At
Yeah.
least you can be happy that one is left. That, looking at it in a very positive way. I think many times in life this happens. It is not a
Yeah.
permanent situation. Things will, over a time, with time, we don't know how much time frame it will, but then it will pass after some time.
Okay.
Then it is God
Yes.
will get to undergo that pain or whatever it is that we cannot, because we cannot share our pain with anyone. We
Yeah.
have to suffer. So that is the, if you take it in a positive way, that this
Mm.
it will pass, and
Yeah.
second is
Yeah.
that it
But
could have
there
been,
is
things would
one
have been
thing.
there.
Yes. Yes. One thing differentiates a sadhak from another person is that they experience pain but do not suffer. Means the suffering angle does not, because sometimes if you are too attached, then that gets magnified instead if you are able to detach. Because what happens, why all of this is important is this creates the ground for us to begin the sadhana only. Means this, if we want to begin the sadhana, let us become children of bliss. Krishna also in the 12th Adhyay, who is that close, dearest devotee of mine? He says, that person who's cheerful, cheerfully bracing all these sorrows, or cheerfully bracing all the hurdles. That person is dearest to me. So many shlokas he talks about. So we have to first become participants, because then when we become ready, then we receive wisdom, we receive direction, we receive, it's like uh, you understand, it's like just instead of being pushed around left, right, and becoming a victim of circumstance, you become aware. Like now we're going to look at Upanishads also. In the Upanishads, there are stages of consciousness: Kavi, Manishi, Paribhu, and finally Swayambhu. Meaning it's like you, God and man are one. It's like they're having now a group discussion to decide what should manifest. Kavi is getting slight glimpses only. Okay, some glimpse, but not clear. The next, after that, Manishi is able to see things little bit more, getting blueprint. But blueprint alone is not enough, isn't it? Many people must have done construction of buildings. With blueprint, nothing works. Many times blueprints have to be changed in the material ground. So many things have to change. Sometimes new blueprints have to be made, and to manifest it is itself a big challenge. To be available for all of these, it is important to first recognize that we have to start becoming active participants of the Ananda. And one of the simplest ways to do sadhana, surrender to your Aradhya or surrender to the Divine Mother. There is a beautiful book Sri Aurobindo has written about the powers of the Mother. That is one very practical book to understand anything. Means if anybody wants to actually understand Sri Aurobindo's writings, visit Secret of Ved or any of the other Human Cycle, everything. First, just look at this particular book. I heard about this from some of the great followers of Sri Aurobindo, who they are beautiful workshops. They keep recommending that The Mother. That's a beautiful book to read. That is a beautiful book to understand how the Divine Mother works in this world. In this world, what are the forces? Then you will understand the role of what is Maheshwari. Maheshwari's highest consciousness goes up to the supramental firmament's highest planes. What is then Mahakali's role? How she breaks things which are not willing to transform. Mahalakshmi's brilliance, harmony, beauty, all of that, how it starts manifesting in life. And Mahasaraswati's perfection, she being the closest to all of us, how she takes us ahead. So, whichever way we choose to walk, it is something we have to become blissful participants and become free of that baggage of what ahankar or tama, ignorance, whatever extra baggage which we are carrying. And that is all Sri Aurobindo is asking. He's not asking anything for himself. He is not asking anything. Nothing can be given by man to him who has already surrendered everything to the divine, who has made our ultimate sacrifice. Only what we can do is we can become free. We can become free so that we can free others also, isn't it? That is how the world should become a better place. And that is the role also. Kalki Avatar would be doing that only. Mass manifestation of it might break that paradigm of single avatarhood also. Next Kalki Avatar might become multiple avatars. But I think with this, we are ready to complete. If anybody wants to add or share something, you are welcome. After which we will conclude our session. Yes, anybody.
Um,
And thank you for tolerating me also. Namaste. Yes. Yes, please. Rashmi is adding something? Yes, you. Were you?
I just wanted to ask, uh, say we just become aware of whatever is happening, say something is happening in our life or in any other's lives, something is happening, you just become aware of what is happening. Don't try to label what's happening, whether it is a good occurrence or a bad occurrence or an
Yeah.
ugly occurrence, whatever. It is just there, and treat it as if it were happening, say, in somebody else's life. Then we are not so attached to what is
Ah,
happening,
yeah.
because
Okay.
it can also be it comes out like advice also. We can also, when we look at it like a third person, we can
Yeah.
advise people.
Yes.
So just
And
like that, when we look at our whatever is happening in our lives like a third person, then it's almost then you come to the point where you advise yourself how to behave,
Yeah.
how to
Wow,
do.
that is beautiful.
But
Yes,
eh,
Rashmiji.
but,
Something we can, it's called Sakshi Bhava. This is a sadhana where you become the witness.
sometimes I
You're,
get the doubt will that make us emotionless?
no, Ji, no, Ji, it will not make us. Because even when Krishna tells Arjuna, Sthita Prajna, you have to become. He says, by Vairagya and by practice, when it is not possible immediately, he says, my mind is not going to change. But if you see if you see Krishna also, was he emotionless? If you see the Krishna itself, Krishna is talking about detachment. Was it emotionlessness in Krishna?
No.
No, isn't it? We see him smiling when Arjuna is too depressed. Nobody would ever smile at such a situation. Your own hero is now going to fall. You have somehow committed to become the Sarathi for such an emotional person, and your entire army of commando like heroes. Your entire army is now fighting on the other side. This is not a happy moment. But he is understanding this is the game of Leela, and so Krishna is able to smile. He's able to smile. Prahasanniva Bharata, it is said. Elsewhere also, meaning, means can a mother lose the feeling of mamatva, motherhood? No, it will never be lost. But the mother can scold the child, isn't it? Without mother only getting irritated.
Yes.
Doesn't that happen? Especially when children are, say, 3 years old or 2 years old, 3 years old. The mother has to teach the child, don't do this silliness, your head will hit somewhere. But the child has still not understood. The cognition has not developed so much to understand language. So doesn't the mother invent some language which is not having any grammatical rules, some weird sounds to indicate this is bad? And then the child understands because child can understand bhava also, isn't it? So the child immediately, oh, this is made her angry. But many times mother appears angry and the husband starts laughing at the funny noise that has come out. And then the mother also starts laughing because it's not real anger, isn't it? It's not that. So it is according when you are a witness, you're not stone, you're not cold-hearted. Sadhaks are sensitive, they will always remain sensitive. Because they are sensitive, they have walked on the path of sadhana. Only they are not like what we can say absolutely malleable to other forces. They are not vulnerable to everything. That is the important aspect. You are going to disconnect yourself from the influences of everything other than the divine. Other than the divine. And divine, whatever the divine wishes, divine wants to throw, divine will throw. You are ready for that. Throw me, hit me, turn me upside down, whatever it is. Sri Aurobindo says, no, it's better to be a servant of God is good, slave is better. What does that mean? That is to the divine only, not any other force, no human being. And actually, we can, if we want to even, what is the meaning of love and all that and all, we can understand better only when we have no attachment. Otherwise, it is all transaction taking place because of expectation. So, sadhana is not for becoming cold and indifferent. Warmth will remain, but you will not flow away from that, from the direction that you are walking on. Yes, Steve. All right. So, I think we can then call it a day then. I think we can conclude. If anybody wants to add something, you are welcome. Otherwise, we will conclude. And it was my first time conducting a workshop on Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the support
Thank
as well
you.
throughout the
Thank you.
session. Thank you, Ji.
Thank
Thank
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Ji. Namaste, Ji.
Always very, very enlightening.
Thank you, Ji. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Thank
I'm
you.
waiting for another workshop.
Yes.
Yes, it will start the next week on Isha Upanishad. We are going to start. Only the material has to be ready in Tatkal. That will happen hopefully. Maybe next week it is likely to begin on Monday.
Okay. Can you send the book name, which author for Isha Upanishad?
Yeah, that is what I said. I have to figure out. Sri Aurobindo's Isha Upanishad is beautiful. But it's very long. So what we'll do, we are going to have a primer only. We'll look at all the shlokas. We'll look at some poetry on the shlokas and a discussion on the same. But if we want to study like how we saw four moments, Sri Aurobindo has beautifully described Isha Upanishad in four moments. So that is also a very nice book if you want to for reference. But we will not be looking at it word by word because it will become a it will not fit into the time frame. But it is in the light of Sri Aurobindo's Isha Upanishad commentary only. We'll be looking at that in some time. I'll give it a idea about it and share it shortly. Yes, Steve. All right,
Thank
Ji.
you so
So,
much.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Ji.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ji.
you.
Namaskaram.
Thank
Thank you, Ji.
you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you,
Hari
Ji.
Om.
Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Yes, please. Sarve bhavantu
Bhavantu
sukhinah.
sukhinah.
सर्वे
Yes,
सन्तु
Santo
निरामयाः
Niramaya.
सर्वे भद्राणि
Bhadrani
पश्यन्तु
Pashyantu.
मा
Ma
कश्चित्
Kaschit
दुःखभाग्
Dukhabhat
भवेत्
Bhavet.
हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं पुनर्मिलामः थैंक यू नमस्कार
Hari
ऑलराइट
Om.
हरि ओम
Hari Om.
हरि ओम जी नमस्ते
Hari Om.
हरि ओम जी हरि ओम
Hari Om.
हरि ओम नमस्ते there are no queries nothing to be asked I'll conclude